Good evening and welcome everyone present here and those who have joined us online. Thank you for joining us and thank you to our panelists for gracing this occasion. We are looking for an insightful discussion on the topic, the future of HR in the digital age, specifically focusing on the healthcare and pharmaceutical sector. So once again, welcome everyone. I'm Dr. Shaista and I'll be the moderator and host for today's panel discussion. And don't worry, everyone, we are not going to talk about how robots are going to take over our jobs. Well, not completely, but yeah, we are going to have some insightful discussions on how the technologies are changing the very face of human resources, especially in this industry. So let's begin with our discussion. But before that, I would like to briefly introduce Regenesis Group to our panelists as well as to our audience. So Regenesis is a truly global organization. We started our operations around 28 years ago, and we now have our operations in more than 190 countries, and we have touched the lives of more than 3 lakh students. So it's a wonderful it's wonderful to be a part of Regenesis. And and what was the vision why Regenesis was started was to transform the world through education. The mission of Regenesis is about awakening potential and developing conscious leaders. So we not only focus on the intelligent quotient of people, we also focus on EQ, SQ, and physical quotient. So yes, we not only offer degree courses across various disciplines, we have our upskilling platform, which is Digital Regenesis, and also our corporate education division, which is empowering organization and working along with the organizations in providing solutions, impactful learning solutions. So yes, thank you so much, Shamita ma'am, for joining us and gracing the occasion. It's absolutely fine. Thank you. So before we start our discussion, I will request our panelists. So please tell us something about yourself and your organizations. We'll start with the lady first. Ma'am.
Okay, so hi, I'm Christina Van Berl. I head the HR at Advi Chemical Private Limited. Advi Chemical is a diagnostic manufacturing organization. As an organization, we are into manufacturing of native antigens, polyclonal antibodies, as well as manufacture diagnostic products as well. Advi was formed in the year 1989. We are around 34-year-old organization. The origins or maybe the promoters of Advi Chemical had been the promoters of Bharat Serums and Vaccines. Apart from Advi, we also, as we call it, as a part of group company, Rivara Labs, which is into molecular pathology testing. Then Morpheus. So it forms a group company of Bharat Daftari group of companies. And in Advi, I have been in the organization since 2022, April 2022. And since then till now, there are a lot of transformations that has happened in the organization, a lot of transformations yet to happen. So thank you so much.
Am I audible? Yeah. So, namaskar and good evening to everybody. My name is Anirudh Gupta. I'm representing Pfizer Limited. Those of you who do not know about Pfizer, it's the largest pharmaceutical in the world. Continues to be for this year too. In India, we have been for 75 years. Globally, it's a 175-year-old firm. Some of the brands that you might be familiar with be Corex, Picasol, and those of you who are on anti-hypertensive like Minipress, given the tensions of the world today. I take care of learning and development for Pfizer India. And in my role, my job is to continue to keep our sales force upskilled such that they have what we call as an in-clinic edge when they're having conversations vis-a-vis the competition. So that's the little job that I do. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Anuranjan Joshi. Pfizer is sitting next to me. so, so I am basically into the healthcare technology background. I have two companies right now, basically three. The third one is into workspace management, but in specific to the technology I talk, I am more into the US healthcare segment, where we work with a lot of doctors. We work with hospitals, we work with clinics, we work with insurance. Uh, we take care of their technology, we take care of their revenue cycle management. Officially, I started company approximately 2 years ago. My wife was basically like she was taking care of initial things, and then later on, last I think 9 or 10 months back, I officially joined the organization as a CEO, and my journey is basically in last 9 months from almost 0 to 10 employees. We are now 200 plus employees. That's one. In my second company, which is purely into technology and development, we are so thankfully actually we got a couple of contracts from South Africa only. So we are designing a hospital management system for all the South African government hospitals right now. So we have got that deal, and then we are working for workforce management as well. And I don't know like how I will be able to add some values from here from my side, but since like we are having 200 plus employees, obviously HR is a very prominent role, which obviously like take care of all the needs of employees, because employees are the one actually they take care of your whole business. So I will be adding whatever value I can add from my side.
Thank you so much, sir. And HR is not now, people are not only the business of HR now. So, yeah, definitely you'll add value. Thanks.
Thank you so much. Good evening, everybody. My name is Dr. Jagmohan Singh Rishi, and I represent Wockhardt. Before I talk about myself, Wockhardt, all of you know, I mean, it is in news these days. The share price has jumped from 150 to 1,000. Those who have got it, they must be very happy. And I have been part of Pfizer earlier, and it knows about it. About last 12 years, I am with the Wockhardt. Wockhardt, the philosophy is life wins. So we have got hospitals, we have got pharmaceuticals, we have got foundation, and objective is the philosophy of a chairman is that we should be thinking beyond the business and ensure life wins at all cost. So that is something which is there, and all the comments which I am expressing are my personal comments. Just a disclaimer I like to give over here. My name is Dr. Jagmohan Singh. I personally I'm an author also of a book called Are You a Digital Dinosaur, which was launched just before pandemic. And incidentally, why I wrote it because most of the pharmaceutical companies are dinosaurs, not by size, but dinosaurically, because they don't want to invest in digital, right? That's the reason I researched this book and I wrote this book, and it became Amazon bestseller. And a lot of organizations, thank you. I think I'll have another clap also, because I donated all the profits of the book to Widows of Indian Army. So I continue to do it. It is doing very well. My responsibility at Wockhardt is I'm head of learning and development and digital customer experiences. And I think these days we are doing something wonderful with respect to people development, capability development, employee engagement. And they are first time in the industry which we are practicing these days. Maybe in the times to come, I'd like to share with you later on. Great to be here. Thank you, Marco. And I'm meeting you second time. First you came at Lower Parel. I was the first one to attend your session. Yes.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much, sir. And yeah, let's move on to.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Jayant Kanzode. I head the corporate HR and manufacturing at Zuventus Healthcare. So, Zuventus Healthcare is a pharmaceutical company handling sales and marketing and manufacturing. We have operations in India as well as African countries. I've had a 30 years of career so far, and I've been lucky enough to be exposed to multiple functions during my journey, starting from sales to L&D, and now finally HR. I've had the advantage of getting a very close look at the uh, very micro details of functionings of each of these functions. So I hope to be able to contribute to the panel with my insights, and happy to be here. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Good evening, everyone. I'm General Santos. I represent Krishna Diagnostics Limited. Krishna is a diagnostic player largely in the PPE segment. We provide pathology and radiology services. We have a workforce of around 6,000 across the country today. Unlike other diagnostic players, our focus is both pathology and radiology. We work extensively with the government on tenders and projects. So we are based in a lot of tier 2, tier 3 towns. Prior to this, on a personal level, I've been in healthcare for the last 12 years. I started my journey with diagnostics, then moved to single specialty hospitals. So I've worked with Metropolis Healthcare, Indira IVF. I've been fortunate to see various aspects of HR within my 12 years, from talent acquisition to L&D. I've also been a regional HR for a while. So I hope I can add to the panel in terms of my experience of working with large numbers of people, specifically those who have been spread across the geography.
Thank you so much, ma'am. And I also have a little intel about you that you have an expertise into data-driven insights, right? Yeah. So we are looking for a lot of insights.
I hope I'll be able to add value.
Definitely. Thank you so much. And I would also like to acknowledge the presence of our online panelist, Dr. Patrick, who has joined us online from Kenya. Welcome, Dr. Patrick, and thank you for joining us. So yeah, if you can just throw a light on about you to the audience. He has a wealth of experience with him. Sir?
Thank you. Thank you so much. Can you hear me clearly?
Yes, you are audible.
Excellent. So my name is Patrick Osewe. I'm the director of Regenesis Africa. I'm based in Nairobi. Dr. Marco invited me to join him to expand Regenesis across the African continent. Before that, I was the director of health for the Asian Development Bank, working across all the 42 countries. I spent a lot of time in India, whereby after 3 years of the establishment of Ayushman Bharat, I was asked to review to understand what was working and what was not working by the Ministry of Health and the Prime Minister's office. Before that, I worked for the World Bank. I was a global lead for public health, and so I operated worldwide. The issue of human resources for health is a big issue affecting many countries, and looking at both the health sector and also the pharmaceutical sector, a big issue. We spend a lot of time looking at that across the range, from the facility to diagnostics to pharmaceuticals, looking at vaccines and other medicines. Big challenge. Before that, I worked for the U.S. government. I was responsible for USAID operations in Africa, and also scientist for U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention in Atlanta. So I look forward to a very positive conversation. I'm very fond of India. I think that India is transforming as a society and so much innovation. And that's why I'm here. How do we bring India to Africa, and how do we bring Africa to India, so that the South and South can collaborate with each other? Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Dr. Patrick, and to all the panelists for that wonderful introduction. So our audience know the context now and what we have on the table. So you can see that we have more than a century of collective experience today on the panel. So please be ready to ask questions as well. We'll be taking up questions from you. So I'll begin my discussion with Dr. Patrick. So Dr. Patrick, you are a doctor on a mission, I would say. You have worked intensively, extensively for the healthcare sector. and for the human and social development. So I would request you, if you can just throw some light upon the changing landscape of the healthcare industry and the pharmaceutical industry.
Thank you very much again for this opportunity. I just want to provide context because I think that the world is changing rapidly. First, over the past 25 years, there's been massive urbanization. And in Asia alone, when you look at the data, just before the pandemic, there were 200,000 people that were moving from rural areas to the cities every day. That in itself creates a lot of challenges in terms of how do you provide healthcare at a time when the population is changing very rapidly. Second, the world population with good healthcare, we are living longer, and therefore the population is aging. If you look at East Asia, for example, in Japan, 25% of the population is above the age of 65. In Korea, 20% of the population is above the age of 65. Now, if you come home to India, the equilibrium generally is, for the last 25 years, was that between 6 to 8% of the population are above the age of 60. In India currently, you're about 10.5% of the population above the age of 60. So you're above the equilibrium. The aging society, and given the population of India, China, and others, this is becoming a very big issue. How do you provide care for the elderly? And as you know, the older we become, the more chronic illnesses we have. So the issues of diagnostic, pharmaceutical facilities is a big challenge that we are facing. But of course, a great opportunity as well, and the human resources to be able to do that. Third, migration is a big issue. We see in Myanmar, in many other places, there's a lot of migration, internally displaced people and people migrating from one country to another country. How do you provide services, and what kind of healthcare technology do you need for that? As population become richer, and you can see India is becoming a richer country, very rich actually. You have a population that demands services, and with insurance, the demand for services has increased dramatically over the last 4 years. What kind of system do you need in terms of HR to be able to address all these challenges, all the demand for quality of care that you have now across the world that was not there before? Of course, as you look at society, also, the health is not just something that is implemented by the health. Yeah, you need good roads because of road traffic accidents. If the roads are bad, you need clean air so that you don't run into major respiratory issues because of poor quality air. Major challenges that we see in our society. Pandemics, we saw what COVID did, the kind of technology that was required and the human resources that required. Climate change, big issue. India led work on climate and health under the Prime Minister Modi during the G20, placed right at the top of priority for G20, and therefore became a priority for COP and others. And then, of course, rapid changes in technology. All this is putting a lot of demand on human resources. But are we really ready? Let's look at what happened in the financial sector. The financial sector, when mobile money started, at the Asian Development Bank, we organized a global meeting that brought together all from all over the world. And the top of their challenge was human resources. The sector was exploding, was moving so fast, and there wasn't sufficient human resources to be able to keep up with the technology. Now let's come to the health sector. Health is becoming extremely digital. Extremely digital. I'll repeat that. And who is actually producing digital health experts? If you look across the world, I only know 2 universities that are producing digital health experts. You have digital people getting into health people learning digital, but getting a university that's producing bachelors in digital health. You'll be hard-pressed to tell me which institution in India has bachelors in digital health. It's a big challenge. So we are lagging behind. the sector, which is between 10 to 15% of the economy, demands health experts, digital health experts, but you're not producing them. This is a great opportunity for universities, great opportunity for Regenesis, great opportunity for the private sector to invest in this area. So that's why we're having this conversation. It's a critical issue that we should all try to address. Otherwise, you have a situation whereby you're poaching staff from each other. You're a pharmaceutical company, you're poaching CEOs and others from another company and so on. That's what we are seeing across the world. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Patrick, for not only highlighting the challenges, but also the opportunities and how the world is, especially the healthcare industry, is transforming and changing. And what do we need there? So thank you for highlighting all these pertinent aspects. So let's get to our panel present here physically with us. So my first question on the context which Dr. Patrick has provided is to you, Christina, and then it will be open to all of us, is how, along with the changing healthcare industry, the role of an HR leader is changing. Specifically, we are in a digital age and work models are also changing now.
Yeah. So thank you. So we as HR leaders, I mean, we have come a long way from, I mean, when I talk about the healthcare as a industry altogether, what healthcare was some time back and what healthcare is now, has in 10 years time we have changed a lot, highly digitized. I think General would agree with me that we were having 10 years back total manual testing. I mean, in one lab, I mean, there were no digitization. So the doctors used to come to a specific location to do a testing. But then this healthcare now has gone digital. So it's like, the doctor is not required or not necessary. The doctor comes to the location to validate the reports or do the testing for that sake. Those validation of reports can happen on the cloud. So everything has gone digital. So to meet to those needs, HR also has seen, like, for example, in healthcare, in our company, we the R&D department, when we do research and development into India, we also have a research and development center in US. So the ideas are shared over the call or digitally. So it's not like, I mean, there is a constraint of a location per se. I mean, the ideas can be shared irrespective of where you sit, which country you sit, and which time period that you are in. So hence, to bring them all into one platform, it becomes very essential for an HR to have one platform for all I think I would say all the employees sitting at different countries. And for that sake, whether it is a talent acquisition, whether it is a performance management system, whether it is learning and development or talent management, for that sake, it all comes under one platform. And hence we say that, yes, we as an HR, we go digital into having one platform called as an HR management system, where everybody can come into one platform. And not only that, I mean, when we talk about an HR evolution with the healthcare sector or with the organization, we have now a bot system which helps. I mean, when I come and open my laptop or open my system, the bot actually asks me, what is your mood today? How are you feeling? What do you feel about your workplace? What do you feel about your manager? What do you feel about the infra that is being provided to you, the facilities that is being provided to you? So it's like, it's like, it's sharing your emotional quotient to the bot that is there. You don't need a person physically present to understand you or to understand your grievances. For that sake, the bot itself helps to understand your grievances, to understand your requirements, so that it takes it to the HR department and HR can work towards it. That's what I feel. I mean, HR has evolved.
Thank you so much. No.
If anybody would like.
I think I agree with her that these days HR has evolved. Earlier, HR was not having a very important seat in the boardroom. Today they have it, particularly after the COVID. When the people were becoming earlier, people were there, but they were little non-existent. So people's importance started coming up after COVID, and today with the advent of technology, although I have written a book on digital dinosauric thing, but I still believe people touch is more important than the tech. So that is something which I always say, that hybrid aspect is very, very important. We may have a lot of technology, and particularly, with a large number of employees like TCS or Reliance is there, you can't operate without technology. How can you onboard 10,000 people in a day, or 1,000 people in a day? So technology is required, definitely. But technology has made our job much easier with respect to recruitment, with respect to onboard, with respect to hand holding, mentoring, and at the same time continuous engagement of an employee. So technology gives us a lot of leeway to track the employees engagement within the organization. You must have heard about Gallup's engagement survey. So these days we can do our survey through technology, and we don't have to depend on external parties. Although external is always the neutral, but we keep on doing a lot of such things accordingly. Just last point I like to mention here is that these days we are tampering with the concept of use of AI in recruitment. So it is not that final thing is done, but AI is helping us screening the candidates and give us the ratings accordingly. And based on that, we are going to map the accuracy of the AI selected person and manually selected person. And it is just work in progress. So we keep on tampering, experimenting the things accordingly. But at the same time, nobody can replace in the corporate the 15th August dress competition, you or 26th January dress competition or Dandiya competitions. So those things only people can make the difference. So that is what I think.
Thank you, sir. So definitely technology is important, it is changing, but we need to collaborate, and people plus technology will give us success. Thank you so much for highlighting. So anybody else who wants to add to this discussion?
Yeah. So very interesting insights given there. From my own experience, I can tell you, yes, sir has called very rightfully pharma companies as digital dinosaur. There's a reason for it. As far as pharma companies goes, we have been very good at adapting digitalization, more from the perspective of increasing organizational efficiency. And as a result, employees are having digital experience in terms of being able to manage their leaves and attendance and everything digitally over phone. But that end experience of having a feel of an AI is at a very nascent stage now. And one of the challenges we are facing is getting the skilled manpower to drive these initiatives. For example, we started in our company digital initiative to get a proper data management done, and we were looking at somebody with the skill set of data analytics. We found it extremely difficult. Those are high in demand and not easily available. So these are some of the challenges we are facing today, and we are moving, but the pace is slow.
Thank you, sir, for highlighting that. And so you want to add? Because my next question was just coming to you. And
The next question, and probably I can add to this.
Thank you so much. So my next question was that Jayan sir highlighted some of the challenges which we are facing in terms of skill gap. So as an L&D guru, how are you transforming your L&D at Pfizer?
First of all, the guru word is slightly humbling, that I am one. And I'm going to borrow Mr. Rishi's words that my views are my views, given the way the world is structured. So So the first perspective that I would like to share with the group is that the digital evolution has happened very suddenly, and therefore we are all overwhelmed by it. It is not something which is gradual. Any change which is gradual, we never ever even recognize it. It just changes with time. Like the way we have been eating, it has changed over the last 2-3 decades. It will continue to evolve or change. I really do not know whether it's evolution or not, but definitely it will change. Our dressing has changed, our choice of music has changed, but the digital thing has happened very, very quickly. Any sudden change is very difficult for people to accept, specifically in a multi-generational workplace, which has got dinosaurs at work and which also has got probably microorganisms, who are operating in their own micro universe. Many of the young talent that I meet today, they are happy to learn in a digital manner. They are happy to learn without much of human interaction. People of my generation are not. So when I have the responsibility of managing L&D, I have to cater to this very wide spectrum. And the cognitive schemas don't operate similarly. They operate very, very uniquely and differently. So I think that challenge will continue. There is no right answer to it. Does the digital have an answer? Yes, the digital have an answer, because now it's like, you have a Britannica encyclopedia available with you. When I was a kid, owning a Britannica encyclopedia was very in thing in a erudite family. Not many could afford it. But today, everything is available at a click of a button. Right? So you can go to YouTube and you can learn to make cuisines. You can learn to solve problems like fixing your washing machine, or if your Mac has broken down, how you can restart it in emergency. You can do things very, very quickly. But a problem has to occur for you to learn. It is not learning because a problem will occur. And I think that's the mind shift which most of us in this room, and probably those who are in the workplace and going to enter the workplace, will have to develop. We cannot be prepared. Earlier, the school of thought was to prepare for an eventuality. Today, we learn as and when an eventuality occurs. So the learning and development is not about maintaining data, remembering things. In this room, if I was to ask you how many of you remember Newton's second law, including the engineers in the room, right? So you would not recall Newton's second law. There was a Newton, he made some laws, 3 or 4, some of us might have a doubt on it, but second law. So submission is that an L&D department or a function in today's day should look at technology as exactly that digitized Britannica encyclopedia. Everybody should have very quick and easy access to it. Should be able to correlate that this is my situation, if this is my problem, where do I go for a solution very quickly? And that should also provide me with some information when other human beings have used it, how they found the results. So learning is extremely going to be dynamic. To give you I don't agree with this analogy, but I often hear it, so I'm compelled to say, you're building an aircraft while it's flying. So the world has come to that, and learning also has probably come to that. I'm not sure I answered your question, but
Yes,
those are some of my thoughts.
Thank you so much. So what is coming to my mind is you're indicating towards just-in-time learning now, learning and development as it is happening.
If I have a problem,
Yeah.
see,
Yes.
if the time I have no problem, I'm happy with Netflix, right? Okay, and I watched the series on Netflix. Some of you have watched it. I think when we look at digital and learning and the future, Black Mirror. I don't know how many of you have got an opportunity to watch it. It's mind-boggling, and probably that's where humankind might land up. So, to one of the points that I wanted to add previously was that while we are talking so much about technology and AI, I hold 2 patents in AI. Is that it has to be run with a very strong sense of ethics, right? If we will bar that little boundary where ethical elements, permeate with that of what is my privacy, what's my world. It goes all into the open, and therefore any technology, whether we are using it for learning or even recruitment, right? If you hire somebody who has come from an AI platform search, and tomorrow the manager says it doesn't work with me, you did not allow me to interview this guy. You took him from this very intelligent AI system, make the AI system work, right? You never know how this will happen. So how the ethical standards and the human standards, how they kind of merge is something which only will evolve. There's no right answer to it. I think it's experimental. We're in an experimental world, and that's for us to see.
Thank you so much, sir, for highlighting this very important aspect of ethics along with technology. So my next question is to you, sir. I don't know. Oh yeah, please do.
Okay, so I think you pointed. Bogart and Pfizer actually have it. You are surrounded by superpowers. Yeah. So my point is, see, first problem actually starts like how do we define the skill set? Right? Everybody wants skilled employees. Everybody wants skilled people coming into any organization, whatever it is, right? Right now, the skill set is basically in their mind, everybody's mind, right? I'm talking like a person actually who's hiring people, who has a requisition. Actually, I need maybe 20 odd people based on different skill sets, and I'm struggling. And this is a real challenge, actually, I'm telling you. I'm not talking about 6,000 employees or something. I'm just a small company, and this is a real challenge I'm facing right now. People have their mindset created that how do they change the job from one company to the other company? How do they see how the system is basically calling them for any specific role? And how a system is trying to basically get those people inside the system, right? This is a very big challenge right now. I think everybody is facing that. LinkedIn is one of the platform right now. I'm taking that name because like that's become a social professional networking site where a lot of people are basically moving here and there, right? Nothing bad with that, but how do we define, like if I need a Java experienced person with 5 years old experience, whether that particular person is going to add value into my system and develop the software what I want him to develop. A 2-year also can do that, or maybe a 10-year also cannot do that. Java is a skill set. It's a technology, actually, what everybody has done in their education or something, right? Based on the experience, they try learning the system. And why I'm taking Java's name? Because Java is a global language, right? It is still basically right now in the market. People define that Java 2 years experience plus 5 years experience plus 10 years experience, and then you can see the package actually varies because like you have to budget the rule like that specific role, and then you need to have a right person getting into the system because one wrong hire is going to spoil the entire system, and even the project also, even the product as well. I think this is my again personal opinion, and then I will definitely work into this specific space where there has to be a system to evaluate the skill set in terms of some matrices, which is not available in the market right now. Everything is on the CV. Right now in the entire industry, because I have seen actually all the market, Indian market and other countries market, there is no skill set defining measurement system available where you can go and then you can say that like, oh, I need 2 years plus, and this is going to basically take care of my work. Because L&D will come later once the person is inside. L&D cannot define that particular person at the gate, whether this person should come inside or not. So that particular system is right now not available in the market. And I think like the HR industry should think and start working on that particular aspect.
That's a wonderful insight, and what it brings to my, coming to my mind after listening to your response is you highlighted about skills agility. Maybe from the learning and development perspective, we can also look inside our workforce, right? In terms of what skills are available within our company and how we can make them more agile and how we can adapt as per our needs. And also you were talking about a global talent marketplace, not only within the organization, such as being used by Procter & Gamble, but a global talent marketplace. So wonderful insights there. Yes, sir, please.
You just instigated me for answering this particular thing. In fact, this is a big aspect, particularly with respect to the frontline soldiers, hiring, where who are generator of business, particularly sales and marketing. You will understand in Pfizer, we call PSRs or territory managers. So one of the solution which we are trying to install is having a very strong system of midline managers who are very strong in the system. So I've seen that if the system of mid managers, you have very strong team, the frontliners will automatically become strong. So as when I was in Pfizer, one of my gurus used to tell me that you tell me, show me the manager, I will tell the quality of the representatives. So that is the what we call it system. So we have to build a system. Second part is with respect to technology. Now, uh, post COVID, there has been a blast of technology products. Now the difference is not everybody's got a technology product. Now the difference is UX and UI. Okay, so that is that is where the difference lies. I mean, every day I'm bombarded with LMSs and other aspects accordingly, or HRIMS. So which will decide? So that is where the differentiator will come to be a जो मेरा end, who is my end person, my frontliner, be it at production level or be it at sales level. What is the convenience to apply for leave? Does he have to have download 5 apps, or there is one app which is consolidated app? So that is something which is now challenge to for us accordingly.
Yeah, thank you so much for that addition. Yes, please.
Yeah. So I would like to give a third angle to the whole discussion. See, the way the development is happening today, we have at one end organizations evolving, the job roles changing. On the other hand, you have technology also evolving. So what happens is, as the organizations and the technology merge together, you have a scenario wherein the bulk jobs are disappearing, right? And those are being replaced by individuals who have a very unique skill sets, as mentioned by my friend, and that skill set will be with that individual alone. That is what organizations are looking at today. And because this is a new development, we at HR are not able to identify such people. And that's what you were saying. You were also saying, facing a similar scenario. The point is, this kind of knowledge is very tacit knowledge and unique to the individual. So the HR person doesn't know how to look for this individual. And it's a big, huge business opportunity. Look at it from the automation point of view. You have automation happening. Technology is entered there. AI has just started. What we have today is a narrow AI, which is just giving us feedback of a chatbot, which really doesn't help. The generative AI is yet to come. As soon as it comes and it is able to work towards solving this problem of being able to automatically identify the skill set required for that unique position, and mind you, it can vary from organization to organization also, depending on the organizational culture. I can't take somebody for a role, similar role in Pfizer into my company, because my company culture and my requirements are unique to my company. So a very advanced system is required, a generative AI, which will be able to read this. And I don't think the technology has caught up to this level as of now. If a technology company can work on this, it's a huge, huge business opportunity.
Thank you. Thank you.
I wish they don't work on this.
So I think testimony is coming actually, and this is obviously I am not going to reveal everything, to be very honest, but we are in the third phase actually for this specific automation, and there is something actually which is coming maybe by mid 2025, and this specific problem is going to be solved completely based on the technology. So this is I shared this idea in Shark Tank,
Okay.
and this was approved.
Wow.
It went into the third phase. Fourth phase, they started asking for numbers. They asked, what is your revenue? What is your numbers look like? And obviously, it was an idea phase. That particular time, I was working in one of the companies. Obviously, I was not into the business model. And now that specific idea, what obviously, if I reveal it right now, obviously, this is somebody else is going to develop it. So that is going to come, and we will have something very exciting coming soon. So
Thank
exactly
you.
to answer.
So we are going to see you on Shark Tank India soon.
No, I'm not. See, why would I go to Shark Tank? Because I need investment. So to be honest, actually, I am a bootstrap and I don't need investment actually.
Wonderful.
So this is going to be a white label product, which is not only for the organization. This is going to be for the people also, because this is going to map an individual to an organization to identify and then find that right skill set inside the system with the help of obviously technology with the accuracy rate of more than 95%.
Wow.
For giving this place.
And that,
Congrats. We'll like to hear from you once you launch it.
yeah. And my next question, yeah, please. My next question was also on innovation only to you. So you are the right person here.
Okay, so yeah,
how can we build a culture of innovation in specifically in healthcare organizations?
I am a healthcare tech organization, and when I talk about healthcare organization, because we have diagnostic centers, hospitals, pharmaceutical companies here sitting right now. See, innovation is again, it is basically, some people consider innovation as technology. Some people consider innovation as their idea. Idea to technology is a very long journey. Right? We basically just go with the word of innovation means I don't know what it call in Hindi, something, I don't remember that word right now. Not parivartan is change basically, but innovation is changing the entire like segment or maybe word with the help of any specific idea, which is basically changing into something, right? Now we talk about healthcare innovation specifically to the HR segment. What we are talking right now is bringing a lot of change into the system. I think sometime back, like sir said, like HR has changed completely post COVID actually, and it got the right platform what it never used to be. Right, HR used to be called like fun activities, like to be very honest. Yeah, right. Now HR is basically getting their dues back. Ideally, not back actually. They are basically getting their dues in the companies, smaller size companies, bigger size companies, and HR plays a very important role in innovation. But innovation cannot be only dependent on technology specifically to HR. It is basically any specific new idea getting into the system. Like cross domain training is very important thing. What most of the companies they lack. To answer this specific point, actually, what we spoke, where we are like missing out, like getting the right skill set people. Maybe I am waiting for 2 months to hire somebody from outside, which is 60 days notice period to somebody come inside the system. I might create a platform with an innovative approach and then create a cross domain training inside the system and then create the people inside the system itself, right? HR and L&D is going to play a very important role there. We talk about like getting technology into the system. If HR can obviously like try telling the board members or maybe the top management and say that, okay, HR is going to help creating a platform where everybody can be valued well, because like value is something actually which is there very important and prominent aspect we miss into the organizations, right? Everybody should be valued. Like a lot of policies are there. HR should not be only called with following the policy, they should define the policies. Right now in most of the companies, people from the HR industry, they follow the policies defined by somebody else. What I feel, they should define the policies and somebody else should follow that. This is what is missing right now in this entire industry, and based on my working experience and now managing the company, I definitely want my company to run by HR, not by the policies. And policies should be defined by the HR. And HR should not be just a person or a department. It should be there within the system, actually, as per the innovation.
Yes, I think General, thank you so much, sir. And I think General, sir, you want to please. General wants
So
to
I
add,
just wanted to add
Yeah.
to what he was saying. In today's time and age, I think HR are enablers of change. So while pharma, we would call them digital dinosaurs. If I speak about the diagnostic space, we are further behind in terms of adoption of technology. So we work with large workforces geographically spread, but we're one of the last organizations to adopt technology. So today, if I talk about even single specialty hospitals, adoption of HRMS has been happening now. While the world has moved towards generative AI, we're still struggling to get our employees to apply for leave and attendance on a system. The average age of my organization today is 22, 23 years. So if I'm talking about hiring 100 employees, 60 to 70% are freshers. The qualification of a phlebotomist, I'll just add to everyone's knowledge, is an HSC DMLT. So they do a diploma degree. So they're not graduates. They've done a 12th and they do a 2 or 3 month degree, or they do a PG DMLT. Now, getting this, which is your 80% of your population, getting them to adopt technology becomes a challenge, becomes the journey of HR. So, when we talk about innovation, adoption of HRMS, driving small initiatives to accept technology is what we need to do. So, in one of my previous companies, we ran a program called as the Idea Lab. So we used to float it out every month. We wanted employees to come up with ideas. And we said, no idea is wrong. You can give us any idea. It could be a process improvement. It could be a small idea which changes your department. Many of these ideas would not get implemented, obviously. But the fact that you gave employees a forum to speak and reward them for thinking out of the box is something that helps. For managers and above, we were a growing organization. We ensured that they have new initiatives as a part of their KRA. So these are things that you can do on the ground to, help build that sort of innovation within the organization.
Definitely, and that. I'll tell you what. Now, what Janil was telling also. Let me just give you a difference of the industry also. As she was saying that the diagnostic industry is growing at a low phase and adopting the technology is quite slow. The similar kind of, I think I would say, challenge I faced when I was associated with a diagnostic company. I mean, testing companies, testing laboratories. But from the diagnostic testing, when I came into diagnostic manufacturing, I could see a change of genre of people in adopting technology, where the adoption was quite slow, was going at a snail's pace. I could see that this kind of organization, the adoption was quite faster, even though, I mean, when you talk about the skill set of people, or for that sake, she said DMLT in doctors, MD pathologists, MD microbiologists, as well as MD biochemists. Here we were not having people of that much of capability as well, but then still the adoption was quite faster. The acceptance was quite faster than as compared to the diagnostic testing companies. So that's what I feel. I mean, there are difference in the organizations into adopting technology, and I would say the acceptance to the technology that comes forward.
Thank you so much, ma'am. And sir, you want to add to the
I
discussion?
just wanted to stop you in between, right? Because I looked at you there for that.
No, please go.
No, I have only one statement to this. The question was very powerful: culture of innovation. So, best thing for all of us here is to reflect: when did we adopt to any technological change, or when did we accept innovation? What compelled us to buy something, to embrace something, and when it did not? And the answer to that in core psychology lies is: was your innovation to control, or was your innovation to nurture? What was the intent of that? So when you have a leave management system, it is to control. Attendance is to control. So then I will only think between 9 to 6. After 6, I won't think, and if I will think, I won't think it for you. Right? And nobody is articulating it, but that's how your human system would operate. I'm off work, now don't call me. This is my weekend. Don't expect me. Why? Because you're putting a control system. So when you want to really innovate, innovation does not happen in a block. It does not happen in a quantum of time. It's a continuous flow of work. And you should acknowledge that human beings are autonomous people. Daniel Pink's book and research has clearly proven that. Autonomous, they love mastery, and they need to have purpose. And till the time we are engaging in these three, along with the technological innovations that we are doing, it's going to really, really prosper. So, to ma'am's example, probably in that organization, they felt far more nurtured, far more empowered. And in some organization, even with the best of systems, they're not feeling that. and therefore it's not going to grow.
Thank you so much. So you are indicating or pointing towards not only developing competence, but also trust in your employees and empowering them. So that's powerful. Thank you so much. Yeah.
So last point I want to add here, what Sir said. So I'll give you a real example. I don't know, you might have heard ESAT, right? Is a term, right? Which is Employee Satisfaction Survey. Most of the companies, they do. They do it internally, they do it outside agencies as well. Great places to work, right? All these agencies, basically, they give you some insight about the company. Now, how, see, this is also innovated internally with the technology. People basically go fill the surveys and they like anonymous questions, like your identity will not be revealed. This is an activity everybody does. I'll give you a real example. This is so like created in multiple companies where the example is that, like, if suppose there are 50 people in the company, and this is a real example, I'm definitely not quoting the company, they got demoted, right, from their respective roles because of whatever different operational reasons. Now obviously everybody is unsatisfied, right? They do not want to, basically, they can't leave the job because they don't have job, but they are in the system, they can't talk anything. Now suddenly this yearly activity is happening, which is ESAT, which is technology driven survey, where everybody is supposed to be participated. Suddenly HR is coming and HR is blocking these 50 employees not to go and then write the survey there. And this is a real example I'm telling you. Now, like, what can you do, right? You have technology in place, you have company is in your control, but somebody from the top management is coming and then saying that, okay, these 50 people will go and then write something about the top management because something happened in the company, right? Now, this is a real example which we need to, since we are talking about human resource right now, and these are the examples, we can learn from that, and then we can try adopting something actually where we, because the end of the day, it is about people. HR is for people, HR is not for organization, right? And people look up to HR because, like, they can take care of their issues. And if suppose we see these type of issues and then people are talking outside, it means like HR is unnecessarily getting blamed, but maybe HR is part of that activity because they are the doers, but somebody else is coming in. So that is the reason I said, right, with the help of innovation, HR should drive things on their own. I used to call my HR that you don't take the decision. Either you should start taking decision on yourself because you are a HR director, rather than don't go and then hear something from your CEO and then take the decision, because then you are not HR, you are just an employee.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. That is powerful. And so my next question goes to Dr. Jagmohan present with us. And since you are from the Wokhart group, I would like to know from you what were the 3 major COVID challenges you faced as an HR leader, because the frontline workers have done an amazing job in COVID. So a big appreciation and round of applause for the frontline workers. And you are an HR head. So what are the 3 COVID lessons?
I think it's a gone story now, but let me remember. Let me start with what Sir mentioned over here. It is always the culture of the organization which defines any action, and the purpose of the organization also, defines the future of the performance of the organization. Luckily, we at Wokhart have been little proactive, and incidentally, I'm not saying 100%. Let me start with an interesting story. There was a business head who was the performing business head, and we had launched a data visualization tool, Tableau. You must be knowing about it. We rolled it out. Now, this gentleman, before the pandemic, he will say, okay, very good, but give me the data in Excel form. Getting it? Post pandemic, the change was that he was forced to learn Tableau, and all the data was coming on that because no reviews were happening without Tableau. So that's a kind of mindset shift had happened. So if you talk about challenges, number one was that technology wise, we were pretty good. we had an LMS system. We were already using Zoom. Microsoft later on came. Google also came later on. So we were already using Zoom. Of course, the challenge was to take the laptops or tools to the front end, because they are geographically spread. So they were spread geographically, and our IT team had to really struggle to give the laptops at the front end level. So that is one of the biggest challenge. But at the same, I will say the challenge number one was about technology, hardware. Second was about people. We have people capability building, engaging people through digital modes. That is something. How to engage their customers digitally. That is also one of the biggest challenges. I mean, suddenly there is a pandemic, and tomorrow onward you stop going and meeting doctors. What will I do? So we have to start engaging them and building their capability so that they can engage the doctors in a virtual manner. So we had to totally revamp our training programs, the way they interact with the customers, the way they go and have empathy, because doctors were most stressed with the patients with COVID and associated diseases. Third aspect, first was digital technology, second was people, and third most important aspect, what Madam mentioned, is about the adaptability to technology and the change. So those people who adapted survived. Those who did not adapt, they became dinosaurs. That's exactly what it is, and it is relevant today also. So this is how these are three challenges, and it is still today also. The challenge remains. My first chapter in the book says that it is not about technology, it is about the mindset of a leader. So leader, it has to flow from the top, not mid or front end. If there is a culture of adoption at the top, it flows down the line also. So you have to walk the talk also. No? So it has continued of course, we have been working very hard during COVID times, but the technology has continued. Today in my LMS, you will find more of my avatars than me. So for the risk of getting poached, my training person is sitting there, Prachi. I have my competitors also sitting, but don't try to poach us, sir. So there are avatars which we created digitally, and that is something we're using in our training programs.
Thank you, sir. So the COVID drove digital, or you can say,
yeah, it was from fear.
It was from fear, but now it's the leadership which is keeping the momentum. Yeah.
So there was a name which came during COVID times. Who has been the best CEO or change agent? It is COVID.
Thank you so much, sir. My next question is for Jayant. Sir, I want to understand that we are living in a world where we have multi-generational workforce working together, as we were discussing. So how do we create a more inclusive work environment? And what steps you are taking in that direction as an HR leader?
Okay, so let me answer the first part. How do we create a more inclusive environment? See, when we're looking at these three generations, now the baby boomers are almost out. So you have the Gen X, the millennials, and the Gen Z. Gen Z is at a very nascent initial stage of their careers. And you have the Gen X who are at the managerial level, managing the major functions. So if you look at the needs, from my HR perspective, I can tell you, some of the needs for us are common, which applies to everybody. There need not be any generational gap there, but some of the needs are relatively different for each generation. So at this stage, we at HR, I don't know about other sectors, but at least in pharma sectors, we have not reached a stage where we can individually identify the needs of each generation and address them separately. Again, an opportunity for generative AI to come in. Technologically, today, it's not possible for us. The other aspect of pharma industry is our numbers are huge. Though we do not generate volumes in terms of the other industries, but we operate at very large numbers. So it's not feasible for us today. So even if I were to look at, for example, the Gen X and their roles, so we go by the roles, not by the age of the generation. And looking at the role specific needs, we address them accordingly. Whether it is addressing their learning needs or their employee engagement needs, it applies the same. So if I look at the employee engagement needs, I am still doing it, and the same I have seen in other companies across pharma. Is we have a carpet coverage, a general program, whether it is celebrating the Diwalis or holidays or the programs, it's common for all, not generation specific. Similarly, if you have engagement surveys, applicable to all. Yes, if I have a tool which allows me to differentiate, we would love to use it. And that will really give us insight. But some of the things I would like to kind of give a word of caution to anybody who's trying to come up with technologies to answer these questions. Please understand pharma operates very, very conservatively. We have our own genuine concerns. For example, today we know very well that if I allow my people to YouTube, they'll learn very well. YouTube has all the elements of self-learning, but we don't allow our people to use YouTube. It's restricted by the IT and justifiable. Similarly, if there is a need for problem solving at the factory level, I know if my people are allowed to use smartphones, they will come up with their innovative methodologies to solve those problems, because those problems are generated then and there and they need solutions immediately. But we don't allow smartphones in the factories due to obvious reasons of data theft and so many other concerns. Pharma is a highly regulated operation. So a lot of concern about the data security are there. A lot of concern about intellectual property theft is there, and that doesn't allow us to use technology. So if somebody has to come up, they'll have to really break those barriers and allow, then only they'll have an entry into it. Coming to the HR part, see, it's very easy to tell that, say HR has to lead the policies, but we all know, if you see pharma industry per se, I think it is one of the most competitive industry in the world, not just in India. The sheer number of companies existing today and the cutthroat competition. Survival is the word first. Then comes employee welfare. If my company is not able to survive this competition, I mean, where are the employees going to go? So as an HR person, my first thought will go to survival. And I will not like to influence any policy of the organization which questions this very. So we are conservative. Now, if there is a technology to overcome this, then there is a long barriers. That is how I look at it. It's not going to come so easy.
Thank you, sir, for highlighting the challenges as well and the compliance and security, aspects of these things. And as you were speaking about cutthroat competition, survival of the fittest, so I want to ask Jenel, ma'am, can you please throw some light upon how do you, as an HR head, take care of the holistic well-being of employees, not only physical but mental well-being of employees?
So when we talk about well-being, it's very easy to say mental health programs and things like that. But I think what we need to understand is the root cause analysis. When you talk about things like burnout or stress, if I speak about the diagnostic sector, looking at your staffing levels is very important. When I'm talking about employee well-being, I am not only talking about employee well-being for my own employees' good health, because that is directly proportional to the care they are able to provide to the patients. So they are in direct touch with my patients, be it a staff nurse or a phlebotomist. So looking at staffing levels, how is my manpower placement done? How is my manpower planning done? This shouldn't be a one-time activity, but rather something which gets looked at periodically. If I have an increase in workload, am I going back and looking at how my workforce is placed? Am I reviewing my shift timings vis-a-vis the workload coming in? So in diagnostics, you have blood collection happening in the morning and you have processing happening mostly post 11 a.m. Do you have people sitting in your morning shift and relatively free versus the ones in the evening highly, burdened with work? So these sort of things need to be done periodically. I'm saying periodically, time and again, because what actually happens is you look at it once, you look at it at the time of annual budgeting, and then it gets forgotten. But workload increases. Uh, June, July, August are months of high infection diseases. For us, it's season time in the diagnostic industry. It is. And we have a sudden spurt of workload which happens. Are you capable? Do you have that sort of efficiency within the system to manage that? If you don't, then you're going to have your staff, burnt out. So that I think is most important. Secondly, like Sir mentioned, leadership, you need to walk the talk. You need to have a sense of open communication within the organization where employees can at least walk up to their immediate manager and saying, this is what is happening. Or you train managers to identify early signs of burnout. uh, Thirdly, it has to be tailor-made programs. So you can't have a one-size-fits-all policy. Like he mentioned that you can have common programs, but you need to have different sort of engagement programs or well-being programs for different categories of staff. Because what will motivate my front-end staff may not necessarily motivate my office staff or support staff. In the healthcare industry, I can give flexible work from home, hybrid working to my HR, IT, marketing staff, but I cannot provide that to the phlebotomist. He needs to be there on the job daily. What can I do then? I can allow early leaving. I can give you better benefits in terms of I will not be with a stick saying 9 hours complete karna hi hai. If there's no workload after 4 o'clock, you may get that benefit to leave. So these are sort of tailor-made programs that you need to work with to factor different audiences within the organization. And lastly, I would say reward and recognition program. So having that sense of appreciation wherein, so today if you see people are willing to put in that hard work if they know that they are being seen, they are being heard, and they are being rewarded. And it not necessarily needs to be monetary. Just calling everyone in front of the whole lab and just having a shout out matters a lot to employees on the ground. So I think these programs help and will go a long way in boosting employee morale.
Adding to what you rightly said, see, I have a similar issue here. Looking at the changing environment to bring a better work-life balance, we introduced like CRs, but we didn't introduce it for everybody. It's for specific departments. Now, when you do that, you always have heartburns. The other people feel, that's not justified. We have similar concerns. So similarly, when we look at why we are saying that employee engagement also is role based, because we don't have the wherewithal to handle such force. Supposing we have a technology which is able to psychologically map each individual, maybe through their computer usage or whatever, like the social media platforms are doing, if they're able to do it and they're able to suggest us specific interventions based on those psychological needs of individual employees, and we have the data in hand, then we'll be able to cater to these needs. But again, this technology does not exist as of now. These are some of the challenges.
I'm afraid of psychological mapping because it should not go at home.
So, RNR is a very strong activity. Sorry for being critic actually for all the good points because I see challenges and opportunity, and then this is what rightly he said as well. RNR is a good activity, but there is again like a lot of talk about the biasness in RNR, like why this person got it, why this person did not get it. So we definitely should have some. Again, I would bring technology which should be available and open to everybody, because right now, if suppose we say that everything is driven by KPI, KRS, data is there. Based on this particular person has got the RNR or maybe any specific rating or ranking or whatever it is. But is it open to everyone? Do we show that to everybody? Is it? These are the big challenges actually right now. So we are talking about good practices, which is there, which obviously which can always become better. How do we ensure that okay, this is available to everybody, and then there is no ambiguity in between actually sharing the data and then showing the data and then saying that, yeah, I rightly deserve that. Right? So this is missing actually.
Thank you for highlighting that, and that shows us that we have a lot of opportunity in ways in which we can use technology in HR, especially in this sector. So thank you for highlighting that. And now I would like to move to Dr. Patrick. So we have been talking about how technology is needed in this sector and there are skill gaps. So I would like to know from you that what reskilling and upskilling measures we need to take for our healthcare and pharmaceutical workforce.
This has been a very good conversation. Thank you so much to the panelists. I'm glad I'm together with you. I was just fascinated listening to our colleagues from the pharma sector stating how the sector is very conservative. Because when you talk to the regulators, they tell you they're more conservative than the pharma sector. And I recall just this January, I was in Indonesia talking to the Indonesia regulator, and they were just complaining how regulators are so conservative and they want to transform and become digital so that they can give a better service to the pharma industry. And then so it's not just the pharma that's dinosaur, even the regulator is a worse dinosaur. And just recently, the Kenyan regulator was designated to be the AI Center for Regulation in Africa. And they called Regenesis and said, we've said yes, but to be honest, we don't know what to do. Can Regenesis help us? And so we are right now discussing how we can support the regulation, AI in regulation. That's something that, given our linkage with India, that's something that we'll be able to discuss how we can do that. But there are three points I wanted to make. First, I think that HR has a big challenge because in the health and pharmaceutical sector, the production of human resources was mostly doctors, nurses, diagnostic experts, and also research scientists who are doing all the clinical research and the manufacturing experts. But we look at what is required right now. We need mental health experts. Are we producing sufficient number of mental health experts? We saw that during the pandemic, there were literally nowhere in any category of income country, whether low, middle, or upper, or advanced country. There just wasn't enough mental health expert. But you can't produce, you can't pick them from, they don't fall from a coconut tree. They have to be produced. So what kind of technology is required to be able to do that? Secondly, epidemiologists. This is an area that we saw was highly sought after. I personally, working for Asia, trying to get epidemiologists to support many countries, I just could not find them. I could not find people to support the elderly. I mean, people that have skills to do that. And I'm glad that Dr. Marco has been discussing how does Regenesis contribute towards this demand for elderly care that we see globally. Big issue. I just want to share that the government of Germany and the government of Kenya have agreed, there's a contract will be signed in September for human resources to actually go to Germany because they just cannot find labor. And of course, this is something that almost all the advanced countries, Australia, US, they require labor, especially in technology. In Qatar, for instance, they've also just passed legislation that if you have certain skills, particularly ICT skills, whereas in the past, only individuals were allowed to get a work permit for 2 to 3 years, now you can go with a family for 5 years, extendable for another 5 years. So 10 years in Qatar with family. So there's a severe shortage of certain skills, particularly these emerging skills. And so the HR has a significant role to see how do you create the skill mix that is required for your company to be able to be competitive. Second is skills location. We are finding that there's a serious divide between those who live in the urban area and those who live in the rural areas. Men and women, the tech executives in Kenya, we're just discussing with the Communication Authority of Kenya, only 25% of ICT leaders in the country are women. And how do you create that pipeline to ensure that you balance that skills mix? Young versus old. You're finding that almost 90% of the young people are able to use using internet almost on a daily basis. But when you go to those above the age of 55, it's only 40%. How does HR, given the resistance that sometimes you might get for senior level staff regarding technology, how do you stimulate them to be able to be to keep up with everybody else? And then, of course, rich and poor. How do you ensure that nobody is left behind? These are serious issues regarding skills, location, and where people live that sometimes is dependent on the government, but at the same time also dependent on the company. And lastly is skills acquisition and retention. In certain areas where there's a lot of scarcity, how do you ensure that you get the right people and you keep them and you build the capacity of your staff to do that? So whereas these are challenges, but they also present great opportunities for companies and for academic institutions to be able to stimulate expertise along these lines. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Patrick. And we definitely need to think on what kind of skill mix do we need. So thank you for highlighting that. And yeah, I think we are exceeding our time. So my apologies for that, but it was a very interesting discussion. And before I ask for concluding, comments from you all, I would like to ask our audience if they have any questions. Oh, Dr. Marco has a question.
Thank you, Shaista. My question is around telemedicine. Okay, many years ago, I started my career in training hospital managers. So 25, 30 years ago. And there was a lot of talk about telemedicine, and I was looking forward to it, time when I don't have to go to hospital, I can have a my doctor and do whatever analysis and the consultation, and virtually on mobile phones, and so much can be done. Like education sector has transformed completely, thanks to COVID. Online education has, we have transformed completely. Before COVID was 95% was traditional education, 5% was online. Now it's 99% online and global. So education sector has transformed. Many sectors have transformed, but health sector still, if I had to go to the hospital, if I'm sick, it's hard to make appointment online, and to be able to get, your treatment, whatever, advice and why it's so slow? Why? I know you use digital dinosaur and all that, but I'm still struggling to understand why. Yeah.
I'll also say, let me try to answer this question, that because the psyche of a patient is such that they would like to have a touch rather than a tech. In fact, there was a big jump in telemedicine during the COVID times and post-COVID times also. But it has gone down like anything. I think doctors are still practicing, but the practicing of telemedicine is just maybe 5% only. Companies were giving free of cost technology to the doctors. I mean, I'll not name the companies, but they were giving free of cost technology to doctors. But it all depends on the end user. So the patient is not satisfied till the time he has physical meeting. At the same time, if follow-up of that thing can be done digitally or telemedicine by. So many times what happens is, it started like that. A very interesting story. I have a friend of mine who is a doctor, cardiologist. He was doing telemedicine or con-call medicine, I'll call it, without any video. He did not use. He was doing free of cost only. So when he came in touch with me, I said, why are you doing free of cost? You can charge a patient. He was very happy. He started doing video calls and he downloaded the app, payment app, and started charging it. He said, whatever I was losing during COVID, I'm earning back now. But that has gone down. He has kept 2 hours for call or telemedicine post lunch, 2 to 4. But he said patients don't come. The slots are, of course, booking of the slots is available digitally. If you go on site of a hospital, they can book, diagnostics have evolved like anything. You can book your, blood test slots from morning 6 a.m. till 10 a.m. And they are very, very good. But with respect to consulting, it is psyche of a patient. They want face to face. They want doctor should feel the pulse. Doctor should have put a stethoscope here and there accordingly. I hope I am.
Just to add to Rishi's point, and a brilliant question. Physiological testing is still not available on a digital platform. So if I've got a cough and cold, how intense is it? I need to take a stethoscope and see. That still currently cannot happen digitally. I can tell how much fever I have. I can look at an oximeter, tell how much oxygen level, how much of my heart rate is. But blood pressure monitoring is very, very difficult, given the fact that there could be changes from multiple machines. Calibration is not there, standardization is not there. So basic, simple medical checkup has picked up both on platforms like Practo, Visit App, Tata 1mg, lots of out there. But when it goes into the second line, where actually it would take some time till the time this device does not evolve a bit more. So when this little device that we all hold, it evolves a bit more, it would be able to then provide far more deeper, like an Apple Watch today can help us understand whether the person is due for a stroke or a heart attack or something is happening and can do that bit. So few years that would happen, but the basic level of teleconsultation is is happening at multiple levels. And I don't know, at tier 2 cities, it has really picked up. Where I cannot get a doctor, I can go to an app and I can find a doctor somewhere in the country and at least tell my problem. Is it all pervasive? Not yet.
Thank you.
I think they covered most of the items. I will just add one thing, is reimbursement rate actually for telemedicine. If we compare, so obviously sir said like about the patient psyche. If suppose in India, if somebody wants to pay 500 rupees for a teleconsultation, patient mostly they prefer basically to pay 500 rupees and then go and then show the entire body rather than just basically coming in a video call. This is Indian mentality. When I talk about US, because obviously in US the entire health system is different, like we use CPTs, ICDs right into the system. And when I talk about the reimbursement rate, hospital visit will, because see, India we pay directly to the doctor. In US, insurance pays to the doctor. Patient doesn't pay anything directly to the doctor. So the insurance company, when they reimburse a CPT is called basically a procedure which is used by the doctors. The rates, reimbursement rate, because like for doctor, this is also a business, right? So the rates given by the insurance company for telemedicine is very less compared to the rates which is basically given at the physical facility. So see, I am paying, then I definitely want to show, instead of my fever, I want to show my other diseases also, like at that particular time. This is the human mentality actually. That is the reason it is not picking up. But one thing is for sure, in next 10 years, this is going to be the future. This is how it is basically. It is taking little less space right now, but it will definitely speed up over the period of time.
Thank you.
I like to make a data point here. I think everybody must have got medical insurance, health insurance, and they give free of cost telemedicine consulting. Free of cost. Nobody uses it. It's again a psyche problem. But as I said, it will pick up, but it will take time. Because in tier 2 cities, the specialist call is happening. Suppose tier 2 city, there's a MBBS doctor, a GP. He will consult with a super specialist sitting in metro. So that kind of super specialty consultation is happening. But that is connected through a doctor to a doctor. Patient to a doctor? No, sorry.
Yeah. So we are heading towards utilizing technology in this sector, but yes, patients are looking for that human touch as well. So yes, we again need collaboration. We need collaboration between technology and doctors. And our question, we have lots of online questions, but due to the paucity of time, we'll be taking only one question, which is how can the pharma healthcare industry leverage data analytics to improve patient outcomes?
Yeah, so can you repeat the question again?
how can we use data analytics to improve patient outcomes?
Yeah, so basically the question is addressed to pharma and healthcare. Just to give you a perspective, pharma doesn't deal with patient outcome. We are into manufacturing and selling of medicines. A lot of data analytics is being used. Pharma as a sector is bifurcated into multiple functions. You have the manufacturing, you have the clinical research, you have the sales and marketing, then you have various multiple functions. And everybody is using data analytics, more targeted towards developing better medicines. Patient outcome is a completely healthcare industry outlook. And of course, a lot of research is going on there, but it's being handled by very specialized companies, not left to the end users, the hospitals. So of course, there is going to be a lot of use of this, and already some of the technology, like we have seen products coming out of it, but being handled at a by specialized companies. That's how it's happening.
Thank you so much, sir. And I think
Yeah, so if I have to add to it, in the diagnostic sector, there's a lot of technology happening at the processing part of it. So processing is largely automated today. When we talk about, there's no teleconsultation happening, but you have telereporting, you have teleradiology, which also happens in this sector. When we talk about data analytics, yes, you can have data of patients. So you have repeat patients coming to you. You can evaluate the data of their previous test results versus what they've done now. You can go back and reach out to patients who've had positive, say, who've tested positive for diabetes, and you want to check again and push them to come and check again. You can focus on preventive health care via your data analytics. So you have your target audience, you know, who do you pitch to for packages. But in terms of patient outcomes, you can give the analysis, you can give the nudge, but directly impacting is it's yet to take some time.
In fact, as he rightly said, that patient outcomes, patient data is no for pharma companies. By regulatory authorities, we are not supposed to have patient data. Otherwise, it is a danger zone for us. Of course, through our, you must have heard about 4 P's of marketing or 9 P's of marketing. Through that, maybe if we have a compliance of a smaller capsule, which helps the patient to take it on timely. We have a packaging which reminds the patient to take it in time, morning, evening package. So that is something which we can help in respect to patient outcomes. The compliance of a very micronized needle, which patient is not aware of the prick part. So those things we can help in taking the medicine in time and easily to help the patient outcomes. This is, I hope.
So in this specific space, right, sir rightly said, like we are bound with HIPAA, we are bound with a lot of compliances. We cannot obviously share the patient data with anybody. Outcome specific. See, if suppose you want to have generative AI, you have to have a data. Without data, actually, you can't have it. So you want to develop something, you have to have a data in the backend. Then only you can basically see that, okay, how the technology is going to shape that entire product. That's one. Second is, if we talk about patient outcome, in patient outcome, how the patient is getting benefited, that's what the meaning of this patient outcome. I'll give you one example. I think this is not in India as of now, but with the help of data, in US, what is happening right now, even at the time of prescription, when the doctor is giving prescription, so I think everybody heard about generic medicines versus the regular medicines, right? You guys are from pharma. The technology is helping right now to the patient to decide with the help of some of the dashboards that, okay, this specific medicine is going to cost these many dollars versus these many dollars, right? So patient can define that, okay, I need to basically go with this specific, because see, this is a set of medicines, right? And we design that into the system, which is what we call EMR. And patient can obviously take benefit out of that, because instead of paying $10, there are medicines available with the same type of equations, like I don't know those words actually what pharma companies use, and you can get in $2 only.
But I'll counter it, sir. That's all. Please continue.
No, I'm done. Thanks.
No, of course, medicine is a It's in India, it is very loosely. We can go to a chemist counter and buy an antibiotic also. It's very dangerous. We can buy analgesic, but we do not know what kind of side effect it is going to have. I mean, since I was working in Pfizer, since that time we have been told the bioavailability of a particular molecule, same molecule by one manufacturer and second manufacturer is very different. The way it is manufactured. So sometimes, changing the brand can impact the patient outcomes also. Okay, so that is where we say that, in terms of the branded quality medicine versus the generic medicine, the cost may be definitely huge, but the outcomes can be very, very different. Particularly when it comes to neurological products, epilepsy, same molecule, phenytoin, barbital. Okay, you are taking. We have a product. I will not name the brand. It is same molecule composition, same, two different companies. If patient changes it, the patient gets an attack. So that is where I'm saying that paracetamol chalta hai, but I mean electoral type chalta hai, but it is not for the chronic medicines.
And sir, what if suppose doctor is prescribing that from his side only, right? It is not patient is choosing. Patient is getting that information from the doctor only. These are two options available. You can go and then take.
If doctor is changing it, he's saying he's doing it some because of some research or background.
This is how it.
That is how it. That's okay. But he is aware that it can happen. He will not. I mean, neurologists will never change a brand because there is a risk of getting an epileptic attack. And once the epileptic attack comes, the whole past medicine is gone. You have to start right from the beginning.
So the doctor,
I meant like it is.
I got it. Doctor decides, that's fine. Huh?
Yeah. So technology is there to assist, but we need to exercise caution, and that's with every technology, as we have been talking about. So thank you so much to the panelists present here for your valuable insights, and to Dr. Patrick, who has joined us online. Thank you, sir, for all your valuable insights. Today, we have talked about different aspects, and what I could conclude is that there is a lot of opportunity for technology in this sector, and there is a need to identify what kind of skill mix do we need to support that kind of technology and its adoption in this sector. We need to be agile skill-wise as well. So yeah, thank you so much once again, everyone, and those who have joined online for your questions as well. Now I would request Mr. Viju Joy, the CEO of Digital Regenesis and Regenesis Corporate Education India. This initiative is by this Regenesis Corporate Education India only, because we believe in spreading knowledge and insights. So please, sir, I would request you all to present a token of gratitude from our end. Ms. Christina, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you. Thank you so much. Mr. Anirudh from Pfizer. Thank you so much for joining us, sir. Mr. Anuranjan from Incrementum Healthcare. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Dr. Jagmohan from Wockhardt. Mr. Jayant, please join us here. Thank you so much. Ms. Jenil. And I would also like to extend a virtual token of gratitude to Dr. Patrick. Thank you so much, Dr. Patrick. And before I hand over to Dr. Marco for a vote of thanks, I would like to wish everybody a very happy Independence Day in advance. We are celebrating India's Independence Day tomorrow. So a very happy Independence Day. And now I invite Dr. Marco to please give a vote of thanks.
Are you in rush? Okay, please take a seat. People say I like to talk, so I may talk a little bit longer and may get tired standing. I want to thank you so much for coming, for giving us your time, for your generosity. I know your time is very precious and very expensive. And little token of appreciation and getting, it's nothing really big, nothing significant. It's a copy of my book. I hope you're going to enjoy reading it. The book is about leadership and my own experiences about business and personal mastery in my own journey. I hope you'll enjoy reading it. I enjoyed this discussion and I've learned a lot, and a lot of thoughts coming to my mind listening to all of you. Patrick, first about all global trends and epidemiology and urbanization and taking care of elderly people in Japan and Germany and all that. And question, when next COVID is going to come, not if, but when, and how ready we're going to be. And your comment around emotional quotient and gathering data about emotional quotient is fascinating. Like, it's a question of time again, when we'll be able to use technology to analyze your own level of happiness and engagement and at the workplace, just by having cameras and be able to identify, level of, obviously happiness affects everything: performance, engagement, innovation, organizational culture, performance, everything else, So without having to do organizational surveys and climate surveys and all of these things, we'll be able to say, guys, we have a problem. There's a direct relationship between happiness and performance, which means we may have to do something, maybe throw a party or do some incentives, or some ice breaks. But we can intervene, not only on organizational level, but also on the individual level. If I know that today my happiness is 6 out of 10, then I have a problem, maybe I'll do something to lift my mood. If I don't know, I'll be ignorant, So raising your own self-awareness, and we know we want to be happy, we want to be positive, we want to be inspiring, So it's amazing how technology will affect us individually and also the way we manage organizations. So I think it will be much easier job for HR people in the future, use technology to drive, performance and happiness and all that, digital dinosaurs. And that's a very great comment. So nice to see you after so many 12 years. I see you have a lot of, you have progressed a lot, in the last 12 years since attending the Genesis program, So payback time now. Nice to see you. Yeah. Pfizer, yeah. Fascinating world, last few years. Pfizer has made billions out of this, COVID pandemic, saved also many lives, I suppose. Yeah. So some new insights about, world of, diagnostics and technology and entrepreneurship. Yeah. So thank you so much for your input and for your sharing your insights, generously with us. I enjoyed listening to you. So this is the beginning of a long-term relationship. I hope you're going to really build long-lasting, mutually rewarding relationship, and I hope some of you will join the Genesis, maybe as a faculty or part-time lecturers as you become older and as you retire. Desire increases to share your knowledge and insights with younger generations of people. So, yeah, we're in similar business of human development, making the world a better place, health and happiness and wellness. It'll be very interesting as technology moves on the higher levels of intelligences, from rational intelligence, IQ. These days we're talking about data science, which is really, about numbers, and IQ, rational intelligence. And there are other intelligence at the Genesis we believe that holistic development, So rational intelligence is the foundation, Then there's emotional intelligence. At the Genesis we say, to get a job, you need IQ. To become manager, you need EQ or emotional intelligence, be able to relate to people and build trust and build high-performing teams. Build sense of belonging. All these things are very important for relational performance. But we don't learn about emotional intelligence in our schools. And then even higher level of intelligence, spiritual intelligence, which is about purpose. So the question is, very soon probably we'll be able to start measuring, level of engagement and purpose, and emotions and sense of belonging, ethics, and those other levels of intelligence. It'll be very interesting how future unfolds in the health sector. So again, thank you so much. And Regenesis operates in several countries, in South Africa, and in Africa, in Kenya, Nigeria. So if so happens they travel to those countries, we would love to host you and to take care of you, to reciprocate for you. Accent comes from Croatia. So if you happen to travel to Croatia, I will invite you to visit my place and stay at my place on coast. We have a beautiful property. So when you get too stressed, and you decide to go for a nice holiday, please let me know. We'll connect on WhatsApp. And wish you all the best. And go and have some food and some drinks. Those of you who like to distress after this stressful session. So thank you so much, and all the best. And Patrick, thank you in Kenya for joining us and helping us with this event, and audience online and physically. Thank you, the Giant staff, academics, and guests. Okay. So enjoy your evening, and all the best, and God bless. Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Marco. And I invite all the panelists, Dr. Marco, Ms. Chamita, Mr. Viju, and Mr. Seth, to please join us for a group